was a peaceful evening. All right? No violence. I got your word. No violence.
No violence.
No violence. Stay off the fence. No violence. Stay off the fence. Take a knee. Take a knee. Take a knee. Take a knee. Take a knee.
Are you going to take a knee? He didn't want to.
I'm in control of me. I'm in control of me.
Just to see how the National Guard and the police that was out there kneel with them, put the shields down. I mean, that's love. You know, I mean, a lot of people don't want to hear that message right now. But if you look around the country, that is what's making the progress. That's what's creating, that's turning the tide right now, is when you see officers and protesters working together, officers walking with protesters. When you see hands being extended, when you see cultural barriers being torn down for the sake of humanity and love. That's what's creating a change. And as we move forward in how we make decisions and how we interact with each other, that's what's going to create that sustaining change. So even in this really tough situation, I'm really excited that people see the potential when we all work together.
Perfect. Welcome to Higher Impact, where we're inspiring your now and empowering your future. I'm your host, Teresa Hairston, and we've got a very special show in store for you. This week, as we've seen protests erupt across the United States and across the world due to the horrendous violence and brutal killings of African Americans by law enforcement, Higher Impact is focusing in on the voices of the faithful in the midst of this chaos. The clip you just saw was co-pastor Billy Russell, whose church is just 10 blocks from the site where George Floyd was murdered. We'll talk to Pastor Russell about the measures that he suggests that will create systemic change. Also, as we continue to stay home and stay safe in this pandemic, we'll hear from one of the most innovative faith leaders in the nation, Pastor Buster Soaries. And finally, we'll hear some beautiful sounds from a beautiful young lady. Ironically, she dreamed of becoming a gospel artist, but things didn't seem to work out in that arena. So she took a job as a flight attendant, but God turned it around and turned it into the opportunity of a lifetime. Find out how her obedience became her blessing. Stay tuned. Look what we say. You're just one of the innovators of this age, and I appreciate you being my guest.
Well, I'm old enough to remember the old days and to have been trained by some of the great leaders of our community, but I'm young enough to still talk to you and active in ministry and in community. And so I thank God for this season that God has given me.
Amen. So talk to me about COVID-19 and beyond.
Well, unfortunately, the COVID-19 phenomenon rolled into a Black community that somehow believed we were immune from the virus. And that had devastating effects on us because in many ways we were behind in not only bracing ourselves, but doing the kind of behavioral change we needed to do to protect ourselves in light of our vulnerabilities. And so that plus pre-existing conditions and lack of access to healthcare caused the Black community to experience exactly what we do all the time. And that is, when white people have a problem, we have a double problem. You know, when white people get a cold, Black people get pneumonia. And so COVID-19 in that sense had a tremendous impact on our community. And before we could really resolve how to organize or orchestrate a way out of COVID-19, the George Floyd situation hit, the video went viral, and now we have a kind of double pandemic. We have the pandemic of confronting this age-old problem of police brutality and this new problem of COVID-19 And I think it's going to take us a lot of prayer, a lot of cooperation, a lot of creativity to really come out of both. What really concerns me is that our young people who are very passionate, very courageous, very energetic and committed haven't had access to any of the OG activists. And so a lot of them are busy and they're protesting, but they don't have the strategic depth that they need to gain some outcomes. I said in an article that I wrote that the civil rights movement sought to work itself out of a job. You know, Dr. King was willing to die, but he didn't plan to die. You know, they aimed at legislation and policies. And so I thought, just in my own world, since so many of our young people are asking me, you know, Pastor, what should we do? Young activists in universities have been contacting me saying, do you have any advice? You know, I decided to put together some, what I consider concrete suggestions. Here is what we can do. And in the first instance, I think what we should be thinking about is identifying communities where police and especially Black communities have learned to work together. And while I was writing it, literally, I looked up and saw in Camden, New Jersey, where the police chief was marching with the protesters, in Santa Cruz, California, in Flint, Michigan. Now, you know, Black people have called to be mad. Flint, Michigan should be mad headquarters.
Yeah.
But the Black leadership and the police leadership got together and marched together. And I think if all we look at is failure in New York, in Louisville, in Minneapolis, and ignore successes in Camden, in Flint, then I think what will happen is we become experts on what we don't want and we become ignorant to what's possible. So that's really the overarching success. Let's find a place where Blacks are respected by the police, where police are held accountable by their supervisors, and then let's dissect it. Let's pull out the principles. Let's teach other cities how to do that, and let's incentivize them and reward them for good behavior.
That is a very innovative approach. And I guess one of the things that is of concern to many people, and I've been seeing this a lot on social media, is that there seems to be a lack of response and an overt voice being heard from the community of faith and its leadership. Is that true in your opinion? And if so, why?
Well, I think we've got, first of all, communities of faith. You know, we, just like Black people are not monolithic, Christians are not monolithic either. My experience is that Black clergy, almost to the person, are articulating, at least in their own congregations, very passionate, very poignant expressions of love, concern, compassion, and the media doesn't pick up on that all the time. Our white brethren are having a much tougher time dealing with any level of compassion, sensitivity, consciousness at all, because I think what's happened is too many of our pulpits, both Black and white, have been co-opted by the political parties. And so if our perspective offends a certain political perspective, then we have a tendency to be quiet. And I think that's the failure of our white brethren, because many of our white, especially our white evangelical peers, have a tendency to be in support of this administration. And I think they're willing to surrender their prophetic utterance to the political expediency.
Wow. So a couple weeks ago, Joe Biden made a statement, and he was pretty much, clobbered because of the statement that he made, basically saying that if you were, against him, then you weren't Black.
Right.
And
he should have been clobbered. First of all, Teresa, I was offended by the grammar. I'm offended when white people think the way to communicate with Black people is through the use of improper grammar.
yes.
It's demeaning, it's belittling. You're an educated woman and you were an educator. My parents were educators. I am an educated person. And I'm offended by anyone, black or white, but particularly white people who, in expressing themselves in a kind of ebonics, I think speak to a lesser opinion of what it means to be black. So that was my first level of offense. And then, of course, my second level of offense was this whole idea that our ethnicity and our racial identity should be attached to any political personality or philosophy. Our blackness is not rooted in our willingness to support a campaign. Our blackness is rooted in the reality that God made us this way, that God blessed us with a uniqueness. We clap on 2 and 4. We eat deep fried chicken. We make sweet potato pie instead of pumpkin pie. My blackness has nothing to do with how I vote or who I vote for.
So in terms of this beyond COVID, beyond Floyd season and our young people, because you've been a great proponent of helping our young people find themselves, what do you say as the top maybe 3 things that needs to come out of this, that people need to really focus on so that we can move forward?
Yeah, I do think from a police perspective, because policing is really the issue. The idea that one police officer would put his knee on George Floyd's neck and 3 police officers would just stand there and watch it. The 3 may be worse than the 1 because it speaks to the idea that there's this blue wall of silence and police will stick together at any cost. That's a threat to democracy.
I know that the African-American community has been challenged. What does D-Free do and what can it do in this new season to help people?
Well, what D-Free does is motivate people to take control of what we have, to control our spending, to control our appetite for acquiring things we may not need, to hold ourselves accountable for what we have. You know, the Bible clearly states in Luke that God, like us, is unwilling to give us more if we're wasting what we have. Every parent knows that. You don't have to be religious to know, but if somebody is squandering what they have, they're not responsible enough to give them more. So we pray for more blessings. We pray for prosperity. We claim victory in the name of Jesus while we're using lottery tickets. We're overspending on things we don't need. We're using credit cards and paying 18% interest. And so what D-Free is a movement to help people understand the power of paying as you go, saving money off of interest from credit cards, paying your bills on time, paying no late fees, and living below our means. That's what tithing does. You see, tithing is a system that says if you understand what you have and give God the first 10%, then you're already on track to do better because you've got a system for handling money. And then when you accomplish that, what D-Free say is, let us show you how to put deposits in your own bank account. I've gotten dozens of letters from people who have said, Pastor, thank you for D-Free because this COVID-19 season has caught me, but I've got no debt and I've got savings. Right. So we're talking about savings, dividends, earning dividends. I made more money today in the stock market than I used to make working full time in a month because I invest my money. Now, all of my suits are not tailor-made. Not all of my clothing is brand new, but I'm making money work for me instead of me working for money. And then real estate. I own real estate. And when you own real estate, you get a deed. Your name is on the deed. So it's freedom from, so that we can enjoy freedom to, and that's what the D-Free movement is about.
Your Impact Network has gone mobile. Now we'll be there wherever you are, whenever you need us. Our brand new app allows you to stream our complete lineup of preaching, ministry, and music 24/7. All of your favorite programs in the palm of your hand and just a click away. Impact's app features our content schedule for quick and easy searching and a Bible reading plan so you never miss daily devotions. We also have a brand new video on demand section so you can enjoy what you want exactly when you want. Regardless of your circumstance, the Impact Network will provide the ministry programs desired. Our goal is to have a positive impact on you and the lives of others. We also have an easy-to-use support button, allowing you to donate quickly, partnering with us as we preach the gospel around the world. Your Impact Network is now available in the App Store on all mobile platforms. Download it today and tell your friends.
Impact, where urban family, faith, lifestyle, entertainment, culture, collide, all here on Impact.
The Impact Network wants to connect with you, and the easiest way is through our new mobile-friendly website. Simply go to www.watchimpact.com, and a world of information and inspiration will be at your fingertips. Live streaming is always available on your desktop, plus take us with you anywhere. You'll be able to connect directly with any of the Impact programmers and get more information on concerts, crusades, church services, and more. If you are ever in need, we are there for you. We have a 24/7 prayer team ready to agree for any need. Also, access our blog site. In it, you'll find inspirational words and teaching from some of the most anointed voices today. Supporting your Impact Network is easier than ever. Just access the donate button, and you're only a few clicks away from changing someone's life forever. Thank you for your prayers and financial support. We are the Impact Network.
Thank you, Pastor. And now we go to Minneapolis, just 10 blocks from the site where George Floyd was murdered. Pastor Billy Chavez Russell, he shares the powerful message that we are better together.
So we're about 10 blocks away from where it happens, right now neighborhood. So yes, it's definitely something that's in our backyard and very close to us. A lot of our members, we have a school as well, Friendship Academy of the Arts. A lot of our staff and students stay in this area. So it's definitely directly affecting us.
How has the response been in your particular ministry, and even how has your church been able to impact the community?
It's been amazing. I mean, I got this shirt on, say we are better together. And I really seen that in action. I mean, immediately. I mean, without any meetings, how we like to meet. We like to have a lot of meetings to plan actions and everything like that. But I seen people just jump, just get to work right away to provide whatever needed to be provided, from food to other supplies. To even protecting the neighborhood at night. Those are things that you don't see on the news. But our Minneapolis residents, from organizing neighborhood groups to really arming themselves to protect their businesses and their other fellow community businesses, are the things that we've seen. And the level of coordination that has happened without any planning it just all goes to the love that we have for one another, as people, as human beings, and we're the love that we have for one another, and we're not gonna let evil and nobody else stomp that out. So we feel like we've been victorious, not because we had bigger guns or anything like that. Is because our hearts were big, and that's what stomped it out.
So even though I know that you're saying that there's been food and all kinds of things that have been positive, we've seen on the news the reports of all the violence, the looting, the robbing, the burning, all of those things that have been happening. So how does all that work together? Yeah, so
there's a lot of pain, a lot of frustration, particularly among our young people, that we can't ignore. You look around all your churches around the country, or not all, but a lot of the churches around the country, and the young people are not there. We need to do a better job of being there for them, listening to them, and they're frustrated. And yes, that comes out in these moments. But there's also another adversary that was present. And that adversary was just pure evil in the form of different militia groups that didn't really have George Floyd's, the cause that we were fighting for in their hearts or in their actions. They wanted to further their agenda through chaos, through destruction, and these are confirmed reports from both on the ground and on the high level of our government that, yeah, we did get infiltrated with people who wanted to use this moment to really destroy our city as a way to, you know, discredit government and police and everything like that. And that's not what we are here for. So we had to separate those that are really out here to fight the good fight with their voice, with their protesting, standing up every single day. Crowds are getting bigger versus those that just want to use this moment for destruction and evil. So now is the time, you know, just like Dr. Martin Luther King said, the time is now. Another phrase that came to my mind is walk it like you talk it. You know, it's like I said, we do a lot of meeting, we do a lot of strategizing together, but now is the time to put all that into action. And now is the time to be real with our kids as to what they're dealing with. And as a way that they will know the reality that they have to change at their level. I mean, you can be middle school and high school and really, really impact your environment. As a pastor,
what do you mean by that? How could they interface with their environment to make an impact?
Yeah, so stand up to injustice when they see it in real time. In our schools, we get constant reports of racism and hate, just because, you know, of what you look like or where you come from or what you believe in. So really encouraging them to stand up when they see those things, because if not, this is what it leads to. When people don't understand each other and not really and not understanding where you come from and everything like that, assumptions are made, negative assumptions made, and now you have all this discriminatory things happening, and it leads to, it erupts when we have moments like this. So it's just been simmering for a long time, especially here in Minnesota with all of the disparities that we have here. It was unprecedented that those officers got fired in less than 24 hours. Well, that was a direct result of what we demanded from our government, and they responded. Also, we asked that at least, you know, Officer Chauvin be arrested, you know, and that happened. So now we're asking for all three of them to be arrested. And then after that, we are looking for to follow this very closely. And we've partnered with a number of different churches from different cultures that's ready to walk right alongside of us to make the systemic changes that are needed for the long run. And for the short term, we asking all churches to do what the church do: provide hope, provide peace, provide love, joy, take care of the mental state of our people after all this, and then, you know, be a distribution site for food and supplies until the stores get back up and running. And we ask that our elected officials help us to serve our people.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today. God bless.
Yes, ma'am. God bless you. Thank you for this opportunity.
And finally, let's go to Houston, Texas, and visit Cherise Miles, a flight attendant for Southwest Airlines who dreamed of becoming a gospel artist. And because of her obedience, God gave her a double portion blessing. Flight attendant for Southwest, right?
I am. I've been a flight attendant for 21 years, 21 blessed years.
21 years?
Yes, ma'am.
So what's your favorite part about being a flight attendant?
Well, you know what? This is my dream job. From a little girl, I always wanted to be a flight attendant so that I could fly around in the airplanes and so that I could sing to the passengers to make a difference in their lives, you know. And so when God gave me this job 21 years ago, it was really an answer to prayer, because I felt like, or I knew that this is my calling in life. You know what I'm saying? And
You wanted
so
to be a gospel artist?
I did. I did. I wanted to. And I've been singing all of my life since the age of 2. My family are all pastors. They're out of Detroit. My grandfather, along with, of course, my grandmother, they raised me in Detroit, Michigan. And he passed away actually 23 years ago, the late Apostle Charles O. Miles. But they grew me up from a little girl singing in the churches, singing around the world in crusades, with my grandparents, and wherever he was preaching, he was taking me along to sing. And so I've been singing before I could even talk. They said I was singing at the age of 2. And so I wanted to be a gospel artist. God has blessed me in that area to be able to sing for the Lord. But now I'm able to do ministry in the air. That's what I call it. Ministry in the air, singing for God and making a difference in people's lives as we meet on the airplane.
Have you gotten any response as a result of singing for the people on the plane?
I have. In 2017, I went viral for singing I'll Be Home for Christmas in the gay area. And I had gone through a divorce and I was quite depressed. I was living in a new state, and I decided that I wasn't going to sit home and just waddle in depression. So I picked up extra trips during Christmas so that I could help to bring other people that are stressed out or depressed during the holiday season. And so I was going down to my airplane, and the Lord told me to turn around and go to the gate area to ask the agent if I could sing a Christmas carol to get everybody's spirits right in the gate areas, because people are stressed out during the holiday season. And so he gave me the opportunity to sing I'll Be Home for Christmas, and somebody was filming it and sent it into the news, and from there it went viral. It went to world news. It was in all kind of magazines, on every news station in the world, and I didn't know it. And I woke up on Christmas, one of the hardest holidays of my life growing up from a kid, and they were like, look who we woke up to. It was on Good Morning America, the Today Show, on Nightline. Juju Chan and David Muir both televised this stuff. And again, I had not seen it, and people started sending clips. And I mean, it just went crazy, and just from being obedient to something that seemed crazy to do, you know what I'm saying, in the airline.
Thank you for joining us for this special edition. We certainly appreciate the privilege of your time. And here at Higher Impact, we're committed to keeping you connected to the information and inspiration that feeds your faith and starves your fears. I hope you've been enjoying these shows. I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me on social media at Dr. T. Hairston or on my website, teresahairston.com. And please join me here, same time, same place. Next week, we got a special Father's Day edition for you, so don't miss it. God bless you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.